Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. We are back on the red couch. Hope you guys are comfortable. We are going over the Bash in Berlin today. As always, I'm your host, Coach. We have Nick in the house. We have Tomlin in the house. We'll get to some questions here later. For me, I wanna open with that one thing because last time that we did it, I had something that was on the card, and this time I don't. And I actually think it's one of the topics that Nick will want to talk about, and I want to hear what Tomlin has to say as well.
Okay.
The one thing that I'm really enjoying right now, and it kind of came out of nowhere, I was not expecting it. Bronson Reed. We were like, to me, he was a complete afterthought like 3 weeks ago. Then he comes in, takes out my boy Seth Rollins, which at first I was like, what the fuck? What's going on? And then was like, okay, Rollins needs more time to rehab or, rest up or whatever. So, okay, that's a good spot. Makes Bronson look really strong. Then he basically takes out R-Truth as well, which in a way, it kind of also helped The Miz because then it allowed them to kind of like break up without breaking up and like got them out of the tag title features or whatever. But still, like now it gives Miz something to do. So like that was kind of good for him as well. And then on Monday, the spot on Braun Strowman on top of the car, the glass shatters, all this stuff, and then like Braun's selling it where he's like, I can't feel my fingers, like, so Bronson Reed just took out, the SOB, son of, Braun Strowman, big badass and everything. He just looks like they're pushing him really strong, and I'm on board with it. I'm liking it. My thing is just, I'm curious where they're going to go with this, okay? Are they going to make him look like a cool badass, and then he loses to Braun Breaker? Because then I'd be like, man, kind of a waste. Or are they going to, like, push him even farther, and maybe he flirts and he gets in the title picture with Gunther? Like, maybe Gunther wins, then Bad Blood, maybe he gets Priest in a rematch or whatever, or... Teaser for chat. I have a really juicy main event as I book it. Here's a teaser, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, maybe he gets in there. Either way, I don't think he wins. But if you're gonna do it, keep booking him this strong, and then he can lose to Gunther, and then Braun can run into him in the back, and then they can have another battle afterwards. Either way, it keeps him on the card, keeps him on the PLEs. It lets everybody kind of know who he is, allows him time to shine, show us what he can do in the ring on a big match per PLE, whatever you want to call it. So that's my one thing that I'm really into right now, and I'm very curious to see what goes on in the future for him.
I like it. I wrote down 3 different things, and that actually was my number one thing. Because, like you said, Bronson Reed was pretty much an afterthought up until like 3 or 4 weeks ago, like just not kind of jobbing, but like just having random matches on Raw until like they decided to just mega push him recently. Anyways, but my big one is that everybody in WWE is just so over right now. So I guess this is my big one. And it's not anything specific. It's just that they're doing so well with storytelling, with the baby faces, with the heels, creating new baby faces. With Damien Priest and Rhea Ripley, creating new heels in WWE with Carmelo Hayes. I had obviously Bronson Reed as well. I mean, Cody and Roman Reigns are at the top. Like, they're the faces of WWE right now, I would say. For sure, 100%. Probably more so Roman than Cody. But even if you lose one of them for like a couple of weeks at a time, WWE isn't going to take that big of a hit because they have so many people that are over in the company. They got Sammy, they got KO, they got Randy, they got Jey Uso, they got LA Knight. Yeah, they got Jesus. They have so many fucking people. WWE.
Plenty of them could step up too if they need to.
And Eugene could come back at any time.
And it's like we saw it with Roman Reigns gone. Like, WWE was still having sellout shows. They've still been doing amazing since WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Without Roman Reigns. And like that just proved to me during that 4-month time period that even if your top draws aren't active in the company, the WWE is still going to do absolutely amazing without them. I was listening to the Busted Open podcast on my walk with my dog earlier, and I heard an interesting thing. Like, this is where I got that idea from. Bully Ray was talking and said that WWE now is kind of like the Attitude Era, like how it was back in the late 90s, early 2000s, or whatever. Like, they had so many people over during that time period. The Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, so many different names during that time period that even if they were missing one of those guys, the ratings would probably still stay the same because of how over those guys were that they had at the top. And that's exactly what it's like in WWE right now. Like, if Jey Uso left for a couple of months, they would still probably be doing amazing. Same with CM Punk, same with Drew McIntyre, same with Cody Rhodes. We already saw it with Roman Reigns, and he's at the very top. So that's my one thing that I wanted to say that I love about it right now, is just their ability to have a shit ton of baby faces that are insanely over. Even the heels are insanely over, like getting so much heat and just staying afloat like they have been like the past like year and a half since Triple H took over 100% creative control. And I think it was on Raw this past week. It was shown on the screen that they had 37 TV sellouts already this year.
Yeah, it's impressive.
37 TV sellouts already this year, and 54 total sellouts, including live events.
I can only imagine what the merch
nuts.
sales are looking like these days too, because like what you were saying with like the Attitude Era, and like you have so many stars that are over and like are getting regular time or whatever, that it's like, okay, well maybe you're not a CM Punk guy or a Cody Rhodes or whatever, but like you have your guy on there that keeps you coming to shows or keeps you watching and keeps you invested in
exactly
whatever. Like to me right now, the Cody Kevin Owens storyline, unless something happens tomorrow, because we're recording on Thursday before SmackDown, like it's kind of like I'm not really interested, I'm not really invested in it right now, but like but then they got me on Bronson Reed and like all this other stuff, so it's like even if your one guy's like, kind of stale, like you have so many other things to like dip your toes in and get invested in or interested in, so it keeps you coming back.
They have you hooked somewhere. It might not be the spot that you expect. Like for me and you, Coach, we both love the Bronson Reed stuff going on right now. We weren't expecting that at all. So like they're just hooking us in
very
different
random
ways.
Very random.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like having a lot of flavors of ice cream. You have many choices. So if you get stale vanilla, you got bubble gum, you got cookie dough, like there's plenty of things.
Exactly.
But
I need some ice cream now.
All right, Tomlin, what's your one thing?
First thing I have is Tony Khan needs to watch like the last year and a half worth of Damien Priest and figure out how to get a baby face over. I've really enjoyed Damien Priest a lot. He's like, he gets a bigger pop every week. But what I have is I am not so much annoyed, but so MJF, Chad Gable, why is it that every single gimmick that is like patriotic or pro-American now is a dick? Like it's always a heel now, bro. Like Cody doesn't count. It's just his nickname. Nothing about him is like patriotic, his gimmick. So like I just noticed that trend recently. I don't know if
I'm trying to think now. I'm trying to think now.
I mean, I feel like they make him a heel and they make him like super like political for no reason or something, like MJF. What's your him like a dick.
Tomlin? All I'm hearing right now is we got to bring back Jack Swagger. We the people.
He was a
turn American made. No, he was when him and Rusev were going back and forth. He was a face. Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's kind of a weird thing, but I mean, it's just, especially with all these PLEs overseas, I feel like it's very easy to get cheap heat that way. So I guess that kind of makes sense. But I mean, like, I don't know. I always felt like Gables is like, he's fine talking or whatever, but I'm like, he gets over in the ring. Like, that's his thing. So it's like, all right, whatever. It's just, like, I still don't feel like we ever got that, like, big payoff versus, like, him and Otis and then, like, his old
really funny. I think that'll come, though. Eventually.
I kind of feel like that's died off now, where it's like, okay, well, now we have American Made versus, the YS6. So it's like, did that just completely get forgotten about?
That's over, though. I think they'll probably circle back to that somehow.
I hope so, but
yeah, I agree.
I hope so, but at the same time, like, or are we just not going to see Otis and those guys for like 3 months, and then we're going to be like, okay, you tied up that story end, but like we don't really care anymore. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I feel like what's going to happen. Unless like Otis somehow gets a big push and maybe he gets like a match against Braun Breaker and loses, like, okay, well at least then he's like still on TV and still in memory, and
Right.
Yeah, because he is very universally loved. He is one of those guys that can organically get over like fucking crazy. We saw that back in May and June.
Yeah. It just seems to
Like
be like that kind of like
leading up
silly.
to the turn against Gable. We saw it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I still want them to think
Absolutely.
that like that's set in stone. They can bring that up, pull that back whenever they want. Like maybe they
I would
can,
love to see that.
but I'm just like I don't want them to sit on the back burner for 6 months and then bring it up later and be like, well, you had your kind of shot at a pay-per-view or a PLE months and months ago. I wish you would have taken it.
Bad Blood is coming up. Bad Blood is coming up, so maybe
Maybe
they reignite something before that PLE. Maybe they do like Otis and Chad Gable in like a first blood match, or like
Right.
I don't know, like a street fight type thing or something.
I don't know if it'd be that high profile of a match though. Like especially now where we have like 5 matches each. Regular PLEs, like take away WrestleMania and SummerSlam, like we basically have 5 matches now. So would that qualify as a top 5 match to be at Bad Blood? I don't know.
I'd put that on a kickoff because I don't know. I feel like they gotta have a match on a kickoff. Like every now and then they probably should do that just to get the fans more reeled into like, especially like bringing back a PLE like Bad Blood.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a pretty cool introduction. Have Otis and Gable on the pre-show or something like that.
The fact that Bad Blood,
I don't watch the pre-shows at all unless there's a match.
I don't either.
Yeah.
At all.
I don't even watch them if there is a match.
I kind of put them on.
I don't see the reason to.
I kind of put them on in the background, so like if I've missed something, but they're making it a point, I kind of recognize like, okay, well they brought that up multiple times now, so that they're trying to include that into the storyline somewhere. But usually I kind of listen to it in the background while I'm like setting up stream and getting all the bells and whistles tested out. So who would like to book the PLE first?
I wrote everything down, but we do like the order and everything too. Like
do the order and then like kind of tell your stories or whatever. So for people in chat or for people listening right now, we have 5 matchups listed right now on the card. We have Gunther versus Orton in a championship match. We have Cody versus Kevin Owens championship match. We have a mixed tag of Priest and Rhea versus Liv and Dom. We have the tag team champions, the Unholy Union versus Bianca and Jade, and we have a strap match that is CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. So those are the 5 matches we have. And I think that's probably all we're going to get unless we somehow get something thrown on there on Friday, tomorrow on SmackDown, which I highly doubt.
Yeah, we'll have to see about that. I'm not too sure. I do like the 5 match PLE formula though. I'm going to go with Liv and Dom and Rhea and Damien opening the show. And second is going to be Punk and McIntyre. Third is going to be the Unholy Union against Belair and Cargill. Cody and KO is going to be second last. And then the last match of the night is going to be Gunther and Randy Orton. I believe they announced that.
They announced that would be the main event?
Yes, they did announce that. I think a couple of weeks ago. I expect Gunther to be in the main event because, you know, he's European.
Yeah.
He's not from Germany, but he's from that general area.
Yeah.
In Europe. So I would assume that he'd be the main event. But as for my results of these matches, I got Liv and Dom beating Rhea and Damien. I got Punk going over against Drew. I have Belair and Cargill getting the tag titles back for the second time. And Cody's obviously going to retain against Kevin Owens. And I have Gunther defeating Randy Orton.
I have the exact same picks as you.
How are you booking? How are you booking the Liv and Dom winning? I want this. I want the juice. Give me the squeeze. What's the storyline there?
All right, so I actually wrote it out this time.
I want it. Give it to me.
I wrote down the numbers game is going to get the best of Rhea and Damien eventually, with the rest of the members of Judgment Day coming down. But eventually they're going to get kicked out. And in that distraction of them getting kicked out, Liv is going to take the opportunity again to grab another chair and hit the Oblivion on top of Rhea Ripley, just like she did at SummerSlam, giving them the win.
How are you booking it, Tomlin?
Well, I'm not 100% sure. I think that Dom and Liv are going to cheat somehow. It'll probably be pretty standard by the numbers, like, you know, Damien's distracted or out, and Dom like hits Rhea or something, and gets a bunch of heat. Not 100% sure, but something like that.
It's not going to be a clean finish. It's not going to be a clean finish. But
let me ask you this, because I think the numbers game also gets them, you know, distracted, whatever. I would love to see Rhea put Dom through a table and make it seem like, okay, it's like, yeah, like you're right, like JD gets tossed out, all those gets whatever. So then it's like, all right, straight up tag match, whatever. Okay, the Terror Twins are gonna win. You know, Rhea puts Dom through a table, so now it's just Rhea and Liv in the ring, and she's like scrambling, doesn't know what to do. But is this not? I know I've said it multiple times in Nick's chat. Is this not the time where we might get a new Judgment Day edition somehow interferes in this match? My top pick, and this is for the questions later on as well, but Raquel Rodriguez shows up.
I know you've been saying that for a long time now.
You know, sucker punches Rhea, does whatever, and then rolls, you know, her in the ring and lives down and out, and suddenly comes back, hits the Oblivion, and boom, he gets the pin.
I'm honestly not opposed to that. I actually wouldn't be surprised if that happened.
So like the easy one I think is just outside distraction, Judgment Day's numbers game. That's what that's what happens. Me booking it fantasy wise, that's what I want to happen.
Yeah.
You mentioned the tag champs. You said Bianca and Jay retain. Tomlin, who did you have? You have them winning as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, Bianca and Jade win the tag titles.
Okay, so is this just straight up match? No shenanigans, no nothing for both of you?
Yeah, I mean they don't. I mean if they go over, they're probably gonna do it clean. I'm sure. So.
I think it's gonna be very clean. I don't think it's gonna be a squash match by any means. I think they'll go like at least 10 to 12, maybe 15 minutes, since there are only 5 matches on the card. I could see them having a really good match with the Unholy Union because they are really good competitors in the tag team division. But I do think Belair and Cargill are going to win the titles back for sure. But I do think it is going to be a very clean finish, and I don't think there needs to be any shenanigans involved.
Wait, so you said they are going to win them?
Yeah, they are going to win.
Okay. Because I know on SmackDown or whatever, it seems Naomi's kind of been in Bianca and Jade's corner, and I think it's Blair Davenport's kind of been
in the side of Unholy Union.
So do we think those two kind of get involved as well? You know, maybe Blair tries to come out and Naomi runs her off?
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, because I mean they're very good allies with both sides of factions. So
because I don't know where Blair Davenport's like where she's from or whatever, but like the Unholy Union, this is kind of on their home turf. Like they're kind of in that area. So this is another one of those PLEs where they should get rooted for.
Yeah, Blair is from England, and they the Unholy Union are both Scottish, so it's very close.
I actually have the Unholy Union retaining, and I'm gonna hold off on the whole story thing, but I have them winning. I do have them going on the card 4th, because I like when I tell my stories, I want to tell them all in a row. But I have them going on 4th, so it is kind of a homecoming, but also like I agree with you. Like this could be one of those time saver matches if something crazy or weird. You know, if Cena shows up or something shows up and eats up 25 minutes or whatever, they need to cut some time. This could end up being that match that cuts. So I have them going on 4th. But okay, so we went over the 2 tags. We'll save the titles last then. So CM Punk versus Drew in a strap match. I don't think there's really much that needs to be told here, but you guys give me your thoughts.
Well, for me, I think this is going to be a trilogy. I don't think it ends with Bash in Berlin. I think this feud is likely going to end at Bad Blood. If I'm being honest, I think CM Punk wins on Saturday. I think he wins the strap match. But ultimately, I mean, we'll get into like the Bad Blood chatter when it comes. But I feel like Drew McIntyre is probably going to take the rubber match at Bad Blood when it does inevitably happen.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, this is all leading to Bad Blood, so CM Punk seems more the strap match. I feel like I've seen more matches with him in it. You know, for the people that don't really know the rules of this, basically, you beat your opponent up so much, and then you go around and tap the corners, and whoever taps all 4 first wins. Am I explaining that properly? I don't think you need to pin. I think it's just a tap.
I mean, you can pin.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, I kind of feel like this is this. All right, CM Punk's going to win. They're going to tie 1-1. They're going to go into Bad Blood and have a rubber match there. The only major, I think, question here for me is that since they are tied together, this might be the one way that CM Punk could get his bracelet back. And by all means, I kind of am done and tired with that stuff, so I kind of want him to get it so we can close that off, and Bad Blood could just be all about beating each other up as hardcore as possible.
All about the fight.
So that's really the only thing that's like I feel like left kind of unsaid. I think I didn't look at the picks for fantasy, but I know I went with CM Punk. It sounds and you guys did as well. So
Right.
But does Drew have the bracelet right now? I thought Seth
Yeah.
did.
No. Drew's got it. Seth picked it up. Remember that's how SummerSlam got kind of messed up. It was on the mat. Seth picked it up, put it on his wrist. CM Punk was like, "Are you messing with me? Are you messing with me?" And then he hit the go to sleep on Seth. I think took it off him, and then Drew I think hit his finisher on that and took it back. So Drew's got it.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like I love the whole Punk and Drew story, but like the whole bracelet is kind of where it loses me a little bit. Like where it is, like who it's with currently. So like that was just to clarify a little bit. I had no idea I had no idea Drew still had it.
I feel like it has kind of been a lame duck excuse to some of the spitefulness or whatever. I did like that he brought in the strap match because then it's like, okay, well now he can't run away, so you should be able to get this damn bracelet back. So let's tie that off, you know?
I think that's a very good point, Coach. I think you probably will like finish up the bracelet story Saturday, and then everything else leading up to Bad Blood just gonna be about the fight.
Yeah. All right. Let's do Cody versus Kevin Owens championship match.
I mean, all I know about this, Cody's gonna win. I don't know if they have some type of swerve planned for that storyline, but if they do, I have no idea what it's gonna be. They haven't really hinted at anything, so.
I mean, the only hints that they've had is they put a video package of like all the people that KO has turned his back on or like betrayed, and so like the major storyline between this whole thing is like Kevin Owens will take the championship match, but doesn't think he deserved it. But Cody thinks he has, and then the whole thing has been like, oh, well, is Kevin Owens going to stab Cody in the back? Will he, won't he? And it's like, it just kind of feels like a filler championship match. Unless something happens on SmackDown tomorrow where Kevin Owens does finally like hit him with a chair or something. Because there was like a brief tease of it, I think, on SmackDown last week.
Yeah, there was.
There's not really much here to go other than like, okay, here's two friends battling over a championship. Let's see, who's willing to pull the trigger first. I guess there's not a lot of investment here for me. The only thing that I could think of that creatively would be awesome, but in the long term it would make no sense, is that the whole emphasis has been on Kevin Owens turning on Cody. What if Cody freaking got the chair and hit Kevin Owens with it and he turned him heel? That would be like, no one's seeing that coming. But I don't think it's going to happen because, Cody is basically the John Cena right now. He's so baby-faced up right now. But if you guys were like down the road like 4 months or whatever and you're like, we won't face Roman versus heel Cody, now's the time to do it because nobody's seeing it, it being a possibility.
That'd be a very interesting matchup, seeing Cody Rhodes be the heel in the situation against Roman. I think for like the third match, I think that'd be very interesting to see. Personally,
Right.
Do we think somehow, one way or another, whether it's before, during, or after the match, the Bloodline somehow gets involved? Because I think Solo said on SmackDown one of these weeks that he said, "Whatever happens, I got next."
I wouldn't put it out of question, but I don't know. For me, I feel like the Cody Rhodes and KO match, I feel like it's just going to be a straight up match. I mean, they probably just decide to throw in KO there to give Cody an opponent to have the WWE Championship defended on the PLE because it is the WWE Championship. It's the most prestigious title in the company. So I feel like it'll be like, there's a chance it could happen, but I feel like it's just going to be a straight up match between KO and Cody.
Yes, I think so too.
Yeah.
I don't see any shenanigans really.
I
do, however, see KO turning on Cody right after the match, though.
Ooh, okay.
I would not be surprised if he did turn heel because there are a lack of heels on SmackDown.
Just finally loses it, tired of the losing.
I think, yeah, that would probably be his excuse.
I'd be okay with it. I just don't know.
He would realize, yeah.
I'd be okay with it. I just don't know what he would do after that. Like who he would go after, or who, like what's the next step on that? But I mean,
I feel
I hadn't thought about it. I hadn't thought about it too much.
He's just gonna keep coming after Cody. So.
It just would feel weird because like he's had so much beef with the Bloodline, and that's kind of like the other top heel faction. That it's like, are you guys somehow gonna be chill now, or boys, or is it just like I hate everybody, I'm gonna stun everybody? Because like that could be fun. Like he could be a
Yeah,
heel, but almost in a funny way.
Yeah, KO on a Rampage would be really fun to see because I mean he's been super babyface since what, like a couple of years now, like 2.5, maybe 3 years. A babyface KO since like the Bloodline stuff. Um, I could see. You asked the question, Coach, what would he would do after Cody Rhodes? I could see him going after Cody Rhodes for the next Bad Blood, maybe.
Mhm.
I could see that happen. And maybe Randy Orton would get involved with KO because I don't think they've ever had a singles match together.
I was just gonna say,
They could.
thinking about it, I'm like,
Yep.
well, Orton has his title match as well. They both have their title matches, and I love the whole RKO bromance. It's like I love their dynamic or whatever, but like that would be the thing to happen. I think afterwards would be like, whoa, why'd you turn on Cody? What's up with you? Like, and then them kind of battle.
Yeah, Randy Orton would ask and be like, yeah, why'd you do that? I thought we were all boys. Like we were standing up against the Bloodline and taking them out, and then you turned your back on Cody, and then essentially you're turning your back on me, and then that'll start a thing between Randy and KO. I think that'd be really cool.
Actually, you know what would be really interesting is that, yeah, I want that feud, I want that match or whatever. But what if somehow KO, he's the new voices in Randy's head, and somehow he turns him heel as well? Because I mean, like, we all want that. We all want that Orton versus Cody match. But how we get there? How do we get heel Orton? You know, how do we get to that? Or do we even need it? I mean, I was thinking about this the other day where I was like, you can have like faces versus faces. And then if anything, it's almost like a ruler of like, all right, how over are you compared to this other over person? But like, I don't feel like you can really have like a legit heel versus heel match. I feel like that kind of leaves the crowd like, well, I don't like either. I want to boo either. Like if they're tweeners and they're kind of just like asshole, types, but that are, heel-ish, you can have that. You can have tweener versus tweener, but I don't feel like you can have a traditional like heel versus heel. But in like today's, you can have a face versus face. So like I guess you could do it that way, and there would probably be no problems with it at all. But I think the best Orton for me is heel Orton, and that's what I want to see.
I agree 100%. Heel Orton is the best. Top 3 heel
of
all
time.
Fun.
It's a lot of fun.
I guess to round this off or whatever, I do think this is kind of end up probably being straight up match. If there is some type of bloodline interference, it's going to be afterwards. I think it was the Scottish show or whatever where Solo had come out afterwards, like clapping and like kind of looked at Cody and was like, "I'm next" or whatever. Like I could see something. That was a classic. I could see something like that happening, where like even a backstage segment where he's just like, "All right, Cody, we're due for a sequel or something without any Roman interference. Like I'll see you at Bad Blood in a cage match or something." Like that's what I would see. But I think they could hold that off until SmackDown.
Right.
Yeah, I think they definitely could. Yeah.
But okay, so then our main event, Gunther versus Orton. Tomlin, you want to go first?
I mean, Gunther's going to win. Unless they do something like you just described, it's probably going to be relatively clean. He might, I don't know, he might take a cheap shot or something at Randy when he gets a chance, but I don't think there's going to be too much other than that, though.
What about Kaiser, man? This is actually his home country.
Yeah, he might. I mean, he might interfere or something, but I don't know.
He's back healthy now.
Oh, good for him.
That's very true. That's very true.
All right, what do you think happens, Nick?
I gotta say the same thing. I don't see any shenanigans. I mean, Gunther's legit. Randy Orton, they're both very legit. I mean, Gunther just came off a 666-day reign as Intercontinental Champion. I don't think he's gonna have the World Heavyweight Championship for less than a month. And if he did, I think that would be just the dumbest thing WWE would ever do. I mean, sure, it's Randy Orton, but it's also Gunther. He holds titles for a long amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a straight-up wrestling match. I think it's probably going to be one of the best matches of the year. I'm going to call that shit right now. I think it's going to be match of the year contender for WWE. No shenanigans. I think Ludwig Kaiser probably comes out with Gunther for that pop. I don't think we see any dirty tactics or anything like that. Like Gunther said, the Raw after SummerSlam when Randy returned, he said that he's always had that itch to get back to Randy Orton and beat him straight up because he didn't at King of the Ring because his shoulder was up on the mat.
Did he say that?
He doesn't want to. Yeah, he doesn't. He doesn't like. He wants to win the straight up match against Randy Orton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it's going to be very clean.
Yeah, I think so too.
Got Gunther, Orton the main event as well. I also got Gunther winning. I'm starting to show off with Cody versus KO because
Ooh, okay.
I want, it's a championship match, so like you'll have the hype or whatever around it. Show starts off hot, but at the same time, like we kind of went over, there's not a lot of like juice in the storyline. I don't see, unless something crazy happens. Like if we get a Bloodline Rules on SmackDown again, like, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
Bloodline Rules.
Like to hype up this championship match again, but I think this is gonna be a straight up matchup. The only thing I think that really happens afterwards is like KO loses his shit and starts like, tearing the ring up or bust some chairs or something like that. But that's just kind of a teaser for him. Like, okay, what's next for KO? Like, has he lost it? What is, like sometimes certain wrestlers, they have that they lose, and then like there's a character tweak, and then like, yeah, they're a heel or they're a tweener or whatever. Yeah. I think that's kind of where we're at right now with Kevin Owens. So Cody wins clean. No shenanigans on Friday. No shenanigans during this match. It starts the show off hot. You get a championship match. And then my second one is we're going to go into... I don't ever like having tag team matchups back to back. So the first one we're going to have is Priest versus Rhea versus Liv and Dom. Because it's not a title. So it goes on second. Again, I feel like fans are invested in this storyline. It'll be good. We'll probably get some of the outside interference with Judgment Day. Get tossed out. I think Priest should look pretty strong here, so maybe he puts Finn through a table or something like that, and then the other, JD runs off or whatever with Carlito or something silly like that.
Those would be the two to run off.
Those would be kind of the cowards or whatever that they would run off, and Priest could be on the outside on the stage or whatever while Rhea's in there with Liv, but because of the distractions, because of the outside interference, I've already said before, I think this is the moment where, kind of like when the Bloodline introduced Solo, if you're going to introduce a new member, and Liv and Rhea are in the ring, I feel like it needs to be a woman. So I would love to see Raquel show up. And now that I'm thinking about it, there's one name that she had big buzz when we signed her, but we still have not seen her. I believe she was out of Puerto Rico or Mexico. Nick, you would know her name. Because I don't remember her name. I know she had
Stephanie Vacour?
I think that's who, yeah. Because I know I think she's from Puerto Rico, because her and Priest had a thing, like, behind the scenes or whatever. So what if she showed up and, like, hit Rhea with a chair or whatever? Like, I think that would be, like, that'd be sick.
That'd be interesting. I did see like around Twitter that like there were a lot of people thinking that maybe she would join Judgment Day, or maybe she would be a part of Priest and Rhea, or something along those lines. But there are also a lot of rumors that she's going to be starting in NXT, and her name has been mentioned a lot in NXT as well. So it could be a 50-50. I wouldn't hate it if she went immediately to the main roster. Seriously, I wouldn't.
I'm still sticking I'm still kind of sticking with Raquel, but like I think that would be, I don't know, more fun.
That'd be like
more
an
fun.
Oh my god moment.
Yeah, that'd be like, oh shit, she's here. This is what we've been waiting for or whatever. But
that's the moment that you would see me pop out of my chair and go, oh.
Yeah, exactly. That's the clip moment right there. But like
the exact face.
So yeah, so like we don't get anything for the first one, but the second match of the night, okay, there's some shenanigans. There's maybe a return or betrayal or something like that along the line. So so then we're like, oh my, we're grabbing our hair. We're like, what's going on? And we're only in the second match. Okay, boom. Then we roll into CM Punk versus Drew, which I literally wrote like 3 sentences for this because we've kind of already went over it. Drew won SummerSlam. Punk needs to win here. Please get the bracelet thing and move on. We're tied at 1-1. Let's move on to Bad Blood. and have a banger of a match there. Have a slobber knocker. I expect blood. I expect chairs, or it could be a TLC match for all I care. It just needs to be settled, or like we're building towards that. I feel like. So
yeah, I mean, my thoughts on that, like ever since they announced Bad Blood, like around Money in the Bank season, I'm like, yeah, these guys are gonna have a trilogy, and that's gonna lead up to Bad Blood. Because I didn't think that these two were gonna have a match at Bash in Berlin. I honestly thought that these guys were gonna have like a cage match or something like that on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, I was expecting this to be maybe one of those those PLEs that was like they skipped over and then they went into Bad Blood, and then like again maybe like the ones, I'm not sure what comes after Bad Blood, but it was like, okay, maybe there's a skip and then they get another one, because
I think it's Crown Jewel. I think it's Crown Jewel and Survivor Series, and that's it for the year.
Because I know, like, we're kind of all worried that one bad bump or whatever and CM Punk's going to be injured, so it's like we don't want to rush him too much or put him on too much of a crazy schedule. So, but all right, so
that TLC match would be fucking crazy for his injuries history.
Yeah. So we'll see about that one, but that moves.
I'd be cool with the First Blood.
Yeah. So then that moves me on to the fourth match, which I'm having the Unholy Union versus Bianca and Jade. I've kind of already mentioned the whole Blair Davenport might get involved. I think because she is kind of over there, I think it's a very likely she gets involved. I think Naomi is kind of the counter. She's kind of the third leg on that tripod over there with Bianca and Jade. Shenanigans or not, somehow maybe even Unholy Union pulls out some cheap tactics or something. But this is my imagine this moment of the night. There's two things that I would absolutely love to see, and this is actually the best spot to do it. Okay? Do I have you strapped in, Nick? What if we get a little bit of, we've seen all this, like, Jade and Bianca are on the same page, whatever. What if we finally get to see that during the match, like, there's a little disconnect, there's a little whatever, and then one of them gets rolled up or something like that. Bianca gets rolled up. And then after the match, Jade puts her up on her shoulders, does a move to her, and boom. The tag team of those two are no longer. Jade is considered a heel. That gives her a strong, 5 to 6 months where you can book her with other opponents, make her look super hella strong, build her up to the Rumble as a heel, and she's got to be one of the favorites to win. So, like, give her these single match. Like, she's kind of got her training wheels on with Bianca. She's been on the road. She knows lifestyle. She can do the interviews. She's had matchups now. Is it not time to take the training wheels off? Let's see what she can do as a single contender now. And I mean, like, whether Bianca wants to sell an injury and goes away for a while or whatever, or maybe they have their Bad Blood matchup rematch. I guess it's really a first match, but like they have some type of match at Bad Blood. That could be great too. Like, that's what I honestly, Bianca's kind of like Cena as well, or almost like she's almost like Roman, where it's like, okay, she's kind of vanilla as a face, but if she went heel, it could be a lot of fun. But I also think she has the Cena elements where it's like, yeah, but she does like Make-A-Wishes and she does all that stuff, so it's kind of hard to make her go heel.
Bianca, I 100% understand what you're saying. Bianca, Cena, Roman Reigns, and Rey Mysterio. Those four specifically all have the exact same traits. And I add Rey Mysterio to those four because Rey Mysterio, for the life of me, I don't believe he's ever been a heel.
Yeah, same. So
WCW.
At least outside of WWE. In WWE, he's been 100% a face, 100% of the time.
So that's one. That's one. My second one is, do you remember? Is Naomi, okay? Naomi's gonna get involved as well. What if Naomi is the reason that cost them the tag team championship, whether it's on purpose or not? I hope in this storyline, for my storyline, I want it to be on purpose because she's tired of not having the spotlight. She helped out Bayley. What did that get her? Bayley lost her championship anyway. She didn't get a championship. She just got beat up. She's helped these two out. She still doesn't get the spotlight. Like, I get her whole, like, glow as, like, face popular gimmick or whatever, but, like, I want to see I want to see Naomi go heel and get over that way and do something different. Because like right now, I feel like the way she is right now, she's just gonna kind of flounder in that middle upper card for women. But like if she goes heel, she might be able to do something and have some great banger matchups with Bianca or Jade or whoever else, Bayley. Like those would be some great things we could see. Or if you want to go, 2B on this or whatever, do we want her somehow get involved in the bloodline stuff? Like, since we do have some ties with that, and like, cause isn't she married to Jay?
I believe she's married to Jimmy.
To Jimmy? So like,
Yeah.
if you want to somehow get her involved in that too, somehow that could be fun. But like, I would love to see her turn heel in this matchup, cost them that. Either way, I think somehow Unholy Union in their home turf is gonna come out on top. So I'm probably in the minority here. Because I mean, like,
Okay.
if you put Bianca and Jade and give them titles back, are they not just basically like status quo? Like, they got nothing better for you to do right now. Just go hold the tag team titles for us. Like, I feel like that always, whenever I see stuff like that, it's like, okay, you get to see, some top stars on your regular TV or your live show or whatever.
You may have swayed my pick since I didn't make my picks yet.
So like,
you're kind of getting to me because what you're saying makes a lot of sense because. I mean, we are a lot closer to the Royal Rumble and the bigger events than I fucking thought we were because, hell, next week is fucking September. And like you said, like, have Jade turn on Bianca because Bianca accidentally cost them the match or something like that because Jade Cargill can't get pinned yet in WWE. You gotta save that for WrestleMania.
Agreed.
That makes a lot of sense. And maybe Jade would turn on Bianca, like you said, and then injure Bianca, take a few months away, comes back in like November, December, or something like that.
Ooh, she could come back during the Rumble too. That would be an epic moment.
Yeah, whenever Jade's left alone in the ring.
Yep. Then you basically have you have a pre WrestleMania matchup right there. If like the ring was empty and it was just those two, you have a little teaser of a WrestleMania moment right there within the Rumble match.
Exactly.
That'd be sick.
And then like building off what you're saying, like from the Rumble, like you could have Bianca throw out Jade to get her revenge.
Yep.
And then later, like when Bianca's like maybe like the last 3 or 4, Jade comes back, takes out Bianca, and that leads up to their match at Mania.
I'm loving it. I'm loving that. So like
I like how we put that story together. Like you got the first half and then I get the second half.
Yeah, like either way, there's something that is there, and like this is the moment because I feel like most people think of this as like it's just a thrown together tag team status quo. They're gonna give it to Bianca and Jade because they got nothing better to do. Like, no, dude, let's make a moment. There's plenty of opportunities right here, and it's the Unholy Union. Blair Davenport's basically hometown, home court showing. Have them win again, whether it's cheated or not.
And they've had a really good run as tag team champions too.
Yeah, and like they're like. For more of your casual fans that don't really know much about them or haven't seen much of them, and like I'm almost lumping myself in this category as well. Like the more I see of them, the more I like of them, and the more I want to see them. So it's like you're drawing more and more money from me because I get to see them more. And like there's and they'll take them to NXT. They go Raw, SmackDown. Like there's plenty of stuff that like I want to see these championships defended on Raw and SmackDown, NXT, and it keeps me wanting more and more of these tag matchups. So. Yeah, that's why I want it 4th. No one's expecting anything there, but there could be something there. Great spot for it.
Yeah, you've definitely swayed my pick, and that's a very hard thing to do. I might add, that's a very hard thing to do is just sway my opinion or like sway my pick on something. But you just did it.
Like even if necessarily we don't have like Jade and Bianca fight, we could easily see that like. Why didn't you tag me? What, like a little bit of
you can see discontent.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh, yeah. They're not on the same page. Something might happen. And I would love I actually think that's more preferred because there's the tease. And then you build upon that week to week, maybe the next paper. And then eventually you get that turn. Because like if it were to happen now, we would be like, whoa, that was out of nowhere. We didn't get a tease. Like, it's what's the saying or whatever, where it's like, like men, like we're always turned on, we're ready to go. But like women, you got to prep the oven, man. You got to get a little tease, a little foreplay. You got to give us that. So I could
and like your point to the teases and everything. Like there haven't been any teases at all with Bianca and Jade breaking up as a tag team. We haven't seen that at all. There have been no teases. Everybody's just speculating online that we're going to get Bianca and Jade at some point, and I do think we will get that. I think that's the money match for a women's singles match at WrestleMania that doesn't involve a women's championship, because we've never seen that.
I agree.
And I think that's the big money match that we're going to get. Jade Cargill's first loss, because it's going to be Bianca Belair. And that's one of the biggest women's matches and biggest storylines that you could tell going into WrestleMania in Las Vegas next year. But like we haven't had any teases at all. So like I think even if they don't get physical, if Jade doesn't get physical or Bianca doesn't get physical at all, like within a tease, I think we should see something that is going to hint towards them breaking up in the future. And then maybe in a month down the line, or like maybe in a month and a half, then they're going to get physical, and then Bianca will go away for a couple months.
In terms of the teases or whatever, that's kind of why I brought up Naomi, because I've seen a couple of like, if you're not looking for it, you'd miss it. But like, I've seen a couple of these backstage things where it's just like, hey, I was here to help you. I didn't even get like a thanks type of thing. So I'm like, if they made, like, for all we know, they've recorded this and they've saved it, because it's like, what if we have this moment where Naomi's just like, I've been here, I've had your guys' back, I've had Bayley's back, I've had everyone's back since I've come back. I've gotten, I think, one championship that got ruined by DQ. Like, no one's here to help me. No one here has my back. No one here wants me to succeed. Like, that could easily be her
story arc.
Yeah,
her
like
motivation.
Her motivation to, all right, I'm done with this. I'm going heel. So like, she's the one that I've got
surprised.
She's the one that I feel like we've got brief little teases if you're looking for. But yeah, like the Bianca Jade, we haven't got any tease. We haven't got any tease on that. Like I said, it's all
pure speculation, man. I see it everywhere. And like, it comes from myself included, because I want to see that match.
For me, like, this is the first not on the same page events for it to happen. And like I said, it will be a roll up or something like that, or Unholy Union hits a chair shot while Jade's laying out on the table or something like that. So, but I feel like I've talked about that matchup way more than I was expecting. But this is my sleeper potential of the night. I think this could be a great.
That was your swaying me moment.
This was my enabler storyline match of the night.
And I wouldn't even call it enabling. It's like, I would say enlightening, because I didn't think about it at all. Like what you were saying, I never thought about it at all leading up until tonight.
Yeah,
but it's really interesting.
Tomlin's like, I'm gonna have to watch the replay. I'm gonna have to wait for the podcast to release now. I missed all that.
Keep getting phone calls, and
he's a busy man, guys. Main event, we got Gunther versus Orton. I do think this is gonna be a straight up fight, banger of the night. I do think Kaiser shows up just because it is his home country or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be one of those, like, Orton's put the lay on Gunther. He's rolled to the outside. Kaiser shows up, tries to do something. This will be like the 6th spot of the night where, he does like a RKO on the table or something, or, even punts him on the outside. So then we get a tease of that heel-nish that could come in, Because, I mean, like, if Gunther's in his hometown, or kind of in a home country area, he's home court, we'll say. If he kind of plays that face role, not that I think he will, but, like, he could, Orton can play that heel role. So, like, we could see a punt, like, who knows?
I think it'd be cool. I do have something else to add.
Go for it.
Like you were just talking about, like, Randy hits Gunther with the RKO and he rolls around. I think this is gonna be my spot of the night. You know how Gunther sometimes does that frog splash from the top rope?
Yeah.
I think he's gonna do it. I think Orton's gonna hit an RKO.
That would be sick, actually.
I think he's gonna hit the RKO, and I think it's gonna be 2 3/4, and Gunther's gonna kick out.
That'd be a great false finish. And I think most people would be like, "It's over, it's over."
Yeah, because you never see Gunther
out
going to the top rope unless it's an important opponent, right?
Yeah, or like a desperate move, like, I've done everything I can. All right, I'm going up top. Yeah, that would be a great false finish.
Especially if the clothesline and the power bomb doesn't work, he goes to that. Like, I've noticed that. I've examined it over the past year. He'll always go to it if he needs it desperately.
Okay, here's my. I teased it earlier, and you guys in Discord probably won't be able to hear it, but I'm gonna go ahead and cue it up for people in chat. Here's a teaser. All right, so we get the Gunther Orton. Gunther comes out on top. It's a hell of a match. It's a banger of the match. Gunther's holding up the title. We think we're about to go. You know, the credits are starting to roll, and suddenly what happens?
Oh.
Brock Lesnar's theme hits.
Oh.
And we go, oh shit, because we've been teased with Gunther and Brock. It was a potential WrestleMania thing until the whole, you know, stuff that we're not going to talk about. What if this is our spot and no one's talking about it?
That would be fucking crazy.
We would fucking drop 20 holy shit emotes, and we both would be like running around our houses or our apartments or whatever, because we'd be like, I did not see that coming, except Coach called it, so now I ruined it for you. So when it happens, you can go, damn it, that motherfucking Coach, he called it.
He planted the seed.
I planted the seed, watered it, because I mean, like, who else would you love? Like, all right, maybe if like Cody versus Kevin Owens was the main event, which it shouldn't be. I would love to see a Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes bring it back one more time for a title, but we don't need that. I want Gunther versus Lesnar for a championship.
People have been wanting for a long time.
Because how I would book it going forward would be, okay, so Brock comes out, whether it gets in his face or not, like that's how we end. Because like what we've said in the past, Triple H loves to end us on the show of like, oh shit, what's gonna happen on Raw? What's gonna happen next?
On a cliffhanger.
What's gonna happen on SmackDown?
Yeah,
like
that's true.
And like this would be such a, where's Lesnar? He gotta go with the title. Is he on Raw? Is he on Smack? You know, like leave us with a bunch of questions. And what I would love to see is like, okay, so then we come out on Raw. Gunther's talking about how good he is or whatever. Lesnar comes out and he points to the title, and Gunther's basically just like, bro, where the fuck you been? This is the most prestigious title in the world or whatever. Like, get in line. You got to earn this. You know?
I think if this whole Brock Lesnar thing happened, I think me and Tom would both just fucking burst on our monitors. Because Gunther and Brock Lesnar is a match that I've been wanting to see for a long time.
But, like, am I not wrong, though? You can't have Lesnar come back and right away get a title. You got to have him have a couple of matchups, earn his way. Like, I don't think he needs to win the Rumble and face Gunther that way. But, like, if he doesn't come back now in Gunther's home turf and get that huge reaction, well, then he's basically got to come back and win the Elimination Chamber and be like a number one contenders match. But that kind of also takes away from like Cena, because Cena's going to be in one. So like, I think this would be, and no one's talking about it. I haven't seen a single person say anything about it. I feel like it's easier to get him into a foreign country and be unspotted than it is for like in the States. That's my holy shit moment of the night, as you were saying.
We'll call it moment of the night because a moment would refer to like a return, a debut, or a spot or something like that. So moment of the night would be like a better thing to call it. Yeah.
But that's how Gunther wins. That's how I'm ending the show. Brock Lesnar's coming back.
I would absolutely just fucking mark out.
That would be great. I doubt it happens, but that would be great. I would be very happy.
Either way, even if
Brock Lesnar is a match I need to see, man.
Even if it doesn't happen, and again, this is me booking. Either way, Gunther's gonna win. He's, it's gonna be a hell of a match. But I do think Kaiser gets showed up and gets taken out some one way or another. But I think it'd be sick. We'll go ahead and move on to our eliminations pick. A summary for people that don't understand elimination pick. Basically, whoever we picked last time, and we all were correct, we cannot pick them again. So I picked Braun, Nick picked Liv, Tomlin picked LA Knight. So for this, Lee, Nick, who are you going with?
I'm going with Cody Rhodes.
All right,
I'm going with Cody Rhodes. I feel like this is probably the most safe option out of all the matches. There's a very small percentage of a chance of Randy Orton getting his 15th title against Gunther, but every other match could go. It's a little bit more iffy for the other matches, but Cody Rhodes is the safe one for me.
I feel like in Tomlin's WWE universe, Orton wins, and that sets up to Orton versus Cena at the title at Mania. Since I know you wanted that to happen last time.
That'd be cool, but I think that might happen, but I don't think Randy's gonna win the title here though.
Okay. All right, so who?
I think if anything, he'll beat Cody, and then that'll set it up.
That would be cool
for the WWE title.
There's definitely a solid chance that Orton and Cena happen at WrestleMania, though. That definitely could happen.
All
I
right,
hope so.
Tomlin, who is your elimination pick then?
Gunther.
Gunther. I'm also going with Gunther.
Okay.
There's only 5 matchups. The fact that tags is a coin flip. I feel like the Judgment Day beef could be a coin flip, even though I think we're all kind of leaning towards, the new Judgment Day. CM Punk versus Drew. I feel like that's a pretty solid match that could be CM Punk, but I thought he was gonna win last time, so now I feel like my feel of the pulse on their feud is I'm not feeling confident anymore. I do think Cody wins, but I'm kind of waiting on Cody to be a safe pick for me later, so I don't want to use him yet.
That's completely fair.
So yeah, I'm going with Gunther here. That kind of moves on to some of the miscellaneous questions that I had. And
Ooh,
chat,
all right.
Chad, if you have any that you want to drop, let us know. I am stealing this one from Don't Hinder Gender in Nick's chat. I thought this was a very good question. And Tomlin, I'm very interested to see what you have to say, so I definitely want you to go first. But if there is one wrestler that you would like to see in another era, transport him from that era to another era, which wrestler would it be? And why?
Stone Cold to right now.
Okay, I like it. Prime Stone Cold.
I mean, he would just fit in. It just makes sense.
I think he would do great, but I'm also like, what would that era be without him then?
Wait, hold on. If you this whole question hypothetically is like,
I guess
you're asking us to choose a wrestler to transport from one generation to ours.
No,
but they wouldn't stay back. They wouldn't go back at all in the space-time continuum.
You can take it however you want to take it. I kind of took it as what's one wrestler that whether it's their character, their skill, or whatever. So for me, I would like to take Beth Phoenix and Chyna and put them in today's, where there's way more female wrestlers, way more talent.
Bianca,
I would love to see
Bianca Belair. Oh,
how many people in their WWE Universe mode have had Rhea versus Chyna? That would be so great. And then you also could include Beth
Rhea
Phoenix in there.
Phoenix.
Yeah, there's you could throw Charlotte in there as well. Now we got Bianca, we got Raquel, we got Jade, we got all these beasts of women. And even the smaller ones, they have so much more skills than Beth Phoenix had nobody to wrestle other than Natalia, who isn't over.
You gotta, if you're talking women's wrestlers, you gotta throw in Jazz, Jacqueline, Victoria into this this day and age.
I would love to do that too, but I'm if I only could pick one or so that was kind of one that was Beth Phoenix or Chyna, one or the other, either one. I'd like to have them now. So I also thought of talents so back in the day, who were those underutilized talents because they weren't the Vince McMahon 500-pound jacked up dude. Well, I thought of Owen Hart or some of those kind of smaller wrestlers that were really good wrestlers but were never really appreciated or were never really fully pushed because of their size. I would love to have those guys be moved to today. So an Owen Hart. So that was kind of one of my ideas.
I like it.
I would love if Rick was here, because Rick would be oh, this guy from 1972, he was only 5'11", but man, he could wrestle. So dig deep into your WWE knowledge or playbook and be who's one guy that if I took him out of that era, it wouldn't affect that era, but if I brought him to today or this era or whatever. So even for me, if I took one from kind of recent and I moved him back, I feel as much as we love The Fiend, we're kind of more in the realistic era within these past decades, that I would like to bring him back to that time period where we had Mass Kane, Undertaker, Mankind, more of those like character eras or whatever.
Yeah.
Like bring him back into even like what was that one guy where he was like a cop? Like, you know, like it was all like character based stuff. Like I would like to bring.
You mean the Mountie? The Mountie?
It was like Big Bad Boss Man or something like that. He had a cop uniform
Big
on.
Boss Man.
Yeah, Big Boss Man. So like I would like to bring him back to that era because like while I really enjoyed The Fiend and that for a long time that's all I really wanted to watch, I feel like he kind of was stuck because there's only so much of that stuff you can do and like squash talents with what they had at that time. So like I thoroughly enjoyed it, but it kind of
Yeah.
felt like it had a limited run that it could do. Where like if you brought it back to that era, there's so many people that he could have squashed or just simply wrestled or had like weird mystic powers with like the Undertaker.
100%.
So like those
100%.
those are the ones that I came up with and I thought, but like you guys, I feel like know way more about wrestling back in the day than I do. So I want your thoughts. Take whether it's to take them out of that era or if it's you just want to like make a clone of them and bring them to today or whatever. I'm gonna let you guys decide.
For me, I wrote down three different options because I am a technician fan, so like I gotta have Kurt Angle on my list. I would love to have prime Kurt Angle in this day and age with wrestling. With Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, fuck even a Will Ospreay, that'd be cool to see. God, there's so many different matches you could have prime Kurt Angle in, and then if you throw in Bret Hart there too, I know we talked about that on my stream a couple days ago. I absolutely would love to see Bret Hart how he would go with all the professional wrestlers nowadays, especially when he was in his prime. And another one that I had was Shawn Michaels, prime Shawn Michaels from the mid '90s, late '90s into today's WWE. I think that would just be phenomenal.
Yeah, he could wrestle with a broomstick. I feel like and make him look good. But
100%.
you know, I would love to see him.
100%.
I would love to see prime Shawn Michaels versus Seth Rollins. That would be my dream match.
Yeah, that would be good.
Or if like
I think my ultimate dream match would be prime Kurt Angle and Roman Reigns. I think.
I want to see that Kurt
That'd
Angle
be
versus
super good.
Gables. I want to see that.
My dream
That'd be
match
nice.
is no doubt Perk
Eugene.
Angle versus coked up Shawn Michaels. That would have been the greatest match of all time. Nothing would have touched that match.
True. Oh man.
I mean, we kind of got that a little bit, just not coked up. But what was that WrestleMania like 21 or something?
That wasn't true Shawn Michaels.
I mean, he was still the
True
showstopper.
True Shawn Michaels is coked up, pilled up, drunk, high.
That's young.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
young
you
Shawn
gotta
Michaels.
You gotta have coked up Shawn Michaels and Perk Angle go at it. That'd be fucking insane.
I know one of the
those two.
I know one person in your chat said like Drew to the Attitude Era, and I was like, I do feel like the way he is right now, he would be a lot more appreciated.
I think CM Punk to the Attitude Era would be fucking crazy too.
That would be phenomenal as well.
Just let him go unhinged. Let him go unhinged on just anybody.
Yeah.
Or Eugene to right now.
I knew you were gonna say that one, but yeah, I guess when I thought of it,
over.
I guess when I thought of it was like, you know, like Shawn Michaels. I liked him in his time period, and like, you know, like CM Punk, like, well, he kind of had his time period where he carried the company, so like, but that's how my brain worked. My thought of like, all right, well, I'm taking him out of this era and putting him elsewhere. What about if you had to pick one female wrestler?
Oh, probably Molly Holly. Bring her now up to now. Probably Molly.
Okay.
Probably
like
Molly.
That would be cool. That would be good for her.
Probably say Molly.
We're gonna bring Braun Strowman back and have him face Andre.
I don't know, Andre,
just
in the '80s in general.
Just give him something
pretty well.
Yeah,
bring back Braun Strowman to the '80s, but he faces Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, brother.
Well, Strowman would have been a heel if he was around back then. So
that's true. Yeah, he was a very good heel, and then everybody got behind him. And that just kind of ruined it because then he never really got that push that he truly deserved in like 2018, 2019. So I feel like they keep Roman babyface for a while.
Yeah.
I don't think Roman will ever turn heel again.
No.
All right, well then we kind of briefly talked about this a little bit, but if you had to bring in any new members, well, first off, to the Judgment Day, do you think this new Judgment Day is going to bring any new people into the equation? And if you do or don't, if you had to name 2 or 3 wrestlers that you think would fit in with them.
So I don't think they're gonna bring anyone in, but if they did, it would probably be like, I don't know, maybe like Legado del Fantasma, and they make like a super group or something. It would be like some
huge
jobbers. I don't think it would be significant.
Okay.
If they did add anyone, I think the group's already got 5 people. You know what I mean? So I just don't think they're gonna. I'm not saying they can't make it work. They might be able to make it work. I just don't foresee it happening. Is all.
All right, what do you think, Nick?
I don't think they're gonna add anybody else, like realistically speaking, except for like maybe Raquel. But if I had to fantasy book it myself and add people to the Judgment Day, I would add Bronson Reed, Karrion Kross, make like a super faction with Final Testament because they are also on Raw, and I'd also add Kiana James into the mix as well because they're not doing anything with her on Raw right now. And I mean she's got some solid character work. She's strong as fuck. So like she'd be an asset to the Judgment Day if like if they were to add someone else that wasn't Raquel Rodriguez because she's not doing anything right now.
Wait,
but that's just me. That's just me fantasy booking Judgment Day if I wanted
is
to have a couple extra people.
You know NXT way better than I do. Is Kiana James the one that was like the 1%er? She was like the businesswoman.
Yeah, she was the businesswoman, like the one with the helicopter and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay, like because
that was her.
I think they briefly teased her when she first kind of like got called up or whatever after the draft, where she was like, "Hey, Adam, can I talk to you about some business?" And like we haven't seen anything from her for months.
She's only had 2 matches on Raw. She's only had 2 matches.
Yeah, that would definitely give her something to do. I do kind of feel like the way that it is right now, that they kind of need some muscle. You know, like they seem like they're just kind of like undersized mid to lower card guys right now. Like I'm a big Finn guy, but like he's not the most, dominant looking person out there or whatever. So like it'd be nice for them to add some muscle. So like, yeah, if we do this Bronson thing or whatever, and he like say loses the title, whatever, and is kind of like, I don't know what to do next, he would be a great little guy to throw in there and add some muscle in, and like I think that would be a good fit as well. I've talked multiple times about Raquel, so I'm not gonna go into that anymore. But I think it was last PLE at SummerSlam or whatever, and we talked about I can't remember the whole storyline that we did, but I briefly remember I think Nick mentioned, what about AJ Styles? His history with Finn, now Liv's involved. Remember when they did that little trios matchup or whatever? That was talked about. It would make sense. He's got nothing else to do.
I did mention Liv at the last show that we did before SummerSlam PLE. I did mention the whole Liv and Finn Balor thing with AJ Styles. Yeah, that would make sense.
So
I wouldn't hate that.
Could happen, yeah.
While this was one that I didn't write this down, but this one kind of popped up today as well. Remember when we had the War Games or whatever, and Judgment Day added Drew?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he kind of had his beef with Priest or whatever, or like I think it was Priest, where he's like, I don't trust this guy or whatever. Well, now he's not involved, so maybe he's their muscle and he's their the star of the group. Because I feel like Finn at this point in his career is kind of just like, I'm just gonna be a mid card, help get people over, and I just want to wrestle and have fun. Like,
yeah, I feel like Drew would be a nice fix, a nice mix into that, but. Because they desperately need muscle, whether it's Drew or Bronson or AJ or something, because right now Judgment Day is strength in numbers, and that's it.
Yeah. And
that's the only reason they're strong is not because they have someone strong.
Yeah.
It's just because they are strong because they have more numbers.
I'm just waiting for that moment where like Priest goes, I don't want to say this was prime Orton, but you remember when Orton was like super over as that like badass tweener, and he basically punted everybody out of the Nexus when CM Punk was the leader?
Yeah, in 2011. Yeah.
I'm kind of waiting for Priest to do that to like JD and Carlito, and then that leads to like him and Finn have like a bad, like I don't think it'd happen that fast, but like him and Finn finally having that one-on-one matchup, loser leaves Raw or something like that, like, and then that's almost a way to like, all right, Judgment Day is officially no more. Dom and Liv can go off and do their own thing, and be the Shawn Michael and Sherry, I think her name was. Can't remember, but that could be a thing. But what was her, Stephanie, Nick, that we were talking about, the female? Yeah,
Stephanie Vicor.
If she somehow got involved as well, like her and Liv kind of team up to take out Rhea. Like if she's a surprise entrance or whatever, like I could see her kind of fitting in with that, since they're kind of like, dark colors, purple. I mean, I guess Rhea kind of left, but like kind of gothic style as well. So I don't know. I feel like she would be an easy, seamless fit in there as well, and especially being around those veterans. If you want to skip NXT, that's a safe way to do it. You know what I mean?
And it gives her a story instead of just floating around on the main roster not doing anything, like Lyra and Kiana.
Exactly. So, I don't know if this happens, but like eventually, do we get a Judgment Day with Terror Twins War Game 5, some type of that matchup? And if that were to happen, who do you think are the Judgment or the Terror Twins like allies? Like who would you join in to help them against the Judgment Day? I want some of your creative ideas.
I would probably say if they were to do a 4-on-4 War Games between the new Judgment Day and the Terror Twins. I mean, first of all, it would have to be a mixed War Games match because they'd be adding Liv and Rhea to that.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would work, but let's just say that they did decide to do that. You'd have Liv, JD, Dom, Finn, and Carlito on one side. You'd have Damien and Rhea. I would say they probably have Rey Mysterio and Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro from LWO on the Damien Priest, Rhea Ripley side if they were to do a 5-on-5 War Games match. That's how I would book it, because I can't really see it being anybody else, to be honest, because I mean they've always been a part of the Judgment Day story because of Dominic Mysterio. I think it would make the whole match hella entertaining too, because they could have some really cool high flying spots.
Yeah.
And shit like that, like they've shown on the past year since they've done the LWO stuff.
Yeah, I think that's the. I think that makes the most sense is to include them just because of Rey. But go ahead, Tomlin.
I just figured if they, I don't think they're probably gonna have anyone help them. They'll probably just beat them without any help. But if they do join up with somebody, it'll probably be like Jey Uso or something like that.
Ooh, yeah, that's true.
That's what I wrote down as well. Was like I don't think they need to, because I think they're kind of trying to break them off to be, so Rhea already is a star, but like solo stars doing their own thing. Like that's where they're gonna eventually lead. I don't think they want to like start another faction. But
and they don't really need to start another faction with the Terror Twins either.
But
right.
I guess one of my ideas, and you're Mr. NXT over there, not me, but they are, like I feel like Rhea and Damien are more like the muscle ground and pound, where like what they have now in the Judgment Day is more like tag team, quick, fast, whatever. So I feel like you need to. All right, Judgment Day needs some muscle, and then like the Terror Twins would need like some speed and agility and tag. So like
to match up with both sides, yeah.
Yeah, so like I would want to bring up some tag team that's exciting and like would pop with the crowd. So what about, isn't it Axiom and Nathan Fraser? I don't know where they're like. The only thing I could think of it was like a little bit of because Axiom's got the mask. I don't know if there's some heritage there that like him and Dom might clash. I couldn't remember who Dom clashed with when he was down in NXT, other than
I think it was Dragon Lee. I think it was Dragon Lee you're thinking of.
Yeah, I think it was just Dragon Lee, but since he's kind of already done that, I was like, maybe he could come down there and butt heads with Axiom or something, and like that could somehow, all right, well, the enemy of my enemy is my friend type of thing.
They could throw in Nathan Fraser and Axiom. I'm gonna update my side of the Terror Twins like War Games thing that we talked about. I think maybe instead of Rey, Cruz del Toro, and Joaquin Wilde, maybe to be Rey, Dragon Lee, and maybe Andrade.
I did not think of that.
If you're not going to bring up an NXT team to team up with Damien and Rhea, because I think they would have to be a part of the whole story, because, I mean, Dragon Lee and Andrade were both linked to Rey Mysterio, who's obviously linked to Dominic Mysterio, who would be on the opposing side. So I feel like Dragon Lee, Rey Mysterio, and Andrade would be a perfect fit to fill that side on the Terror Twins. Because I mean, Rey Mysterio's obviously a high flyer. He can match up with those guys on the Judgment Day side. Same with Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee's fucking phenomenal, and Andrade's my boy. He's a little bit of both, so like it kind of matches up in a sense.
Tomlin was kind of saying, I think the one that I would like best is if they somehow brought Jey in, not for like a long term, but like, hey, we need one more guy, and Jey, needs something to do. Maybe Jey and Dom eventually will have some tist if they both get in that Fatal 4-Way whatever match, which I really hope so, because I think the story or the mixed tag that I actually want to see more than like the Terror Twins is I want Rhea to tag up with Jey And
Yeah.
I want those two to face Dom and Liv because they had that like fun little flirty. No, it's not really a thing, but we're gonna have fun with it. Like I want that to become more of an item, even if it's just for fun, just to get Dom and Liv rattled up. You know, that's the mixed tag
100%,
that I want to
yeah.
see. So like, if there is one person that's like, hey, we need a third person for this fight on Raw main event or whatever, it better be Jay. It's got to be Jay.
That would be cool. I would love to
Probably
see
will
Rhea.
be, I'm sure.
I'd love to see a Jay and Rhea team up.
And then the last thing that I really got for you guys for questions is, I just deemed it, where are they now? Since Bayley lost the title, we haven't seen her. Now that Seth's got injured or, written off TV to deal with his injuries, I want to know your guys' ideas. When's the best time to bring him back? And then we've kind of already talked about Bronson Reed as well, but like I want your guys' ideas. What do we'll start with Bayley. Nick, what do you got? How are you going to book Bayley going forward?
Honestly, Bayley, out of the three that you mentioned, that was a hard one because, like I said, the last PLE, before she faced Nia Jax for the Women's Championship, it's been hard to tell a story with Bayley that doesn't surround damage control. That's why her reign felt... It was a solid reign, but it also felt a little bit lackluster because she was just facing random opponents every month, it seemed like, leading up to the whole Nia Jax thing. And even leading up to the Nia Jax thing, it also felt very random in a sense. I feel like it's been very hard for Bayley to break away from the whole damage control thing because she's been a part of that story for a better part of at least 2.5 years. They're not on SmackDown anymore. They're on Raw. So it's like, I have no idea. I have no idea other than like to say that maybe Bayley would continue to feud with Nia Jax.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I agree with
maybe
you.
Something happens with Blair Davenport.
Yeah, I mean, I love Bayley, but I do agree with you. I think her title reign felt flat.
And it's like Roman Reigns. If the Bloodline wasn't a thing on SmackDown and Roman Reigns came back, I mean, yeah, you could have him going for the titles, but like it wouldn't feel as important because it wouldn't involve the Bloodline. You know what I mean?
Eventually, it would feel stale.
Yes, exactly. And that's what's happening to Bayley, and that's why it's hard to like fantasy book her moving forward. Because I like to think I'm pretty solid at that, but that I don't know.
I got
it's
two
hard for me to think about.
I got two ideas now, and you enabled one of them. But yeah, it's kind of like Charlotte, where it's like she's always in the title picture, but if she's not in the title, like, what else is she? What else is she doing? What else do you remember her by? She didn't really have any great rivalries or like random storylines. So, Tomlin, what would you do with Bayley?
I don't really know if there's much for her right now. Obviously, they'll find something for her. Maybe jump her over to Raw or something and start something fresh with her. Seems like she's kind of feuded with everyone on SmackDown. So
yeah,
they got to start something fresh with her, give her a little bit different look, and go from there.
Yeah, I feel like
I'm in the same boat.
I feel like she needs. It's almost like an absence will make the heart grow fonder. So it's like take some time off, let us forget about you for a little bit, put a fresh coat of paint on it, come back with something new. Now that damage control is kind of faces now in the tag team division, I don't want this to happen because I feel like it's just we already had like 2 years of damage control, but like you could kind of bring them back and have a face run if you did move her to Raw. But I don't really want that. I'm kind of tired of that. The storyline.
Yeah, I'd be kind of tired of that, and it wouldn't really make sense either because
it would be filler.
They attacked Bayley. Io and Bayley had a match at WrestleMania. They attacked each other leading up to WrestleMania. So like, I don't know. I feel like that'd be hard to like just put that in the past if they decided to bring Bayley to Raw. And
they would have to do some type of like tease of reuniting. Like, can I trust you again?
Right.
Blah blah blah. Do we team up because we're familiar with one another to take out Pure Fusion Collection or whatever? Because that's a trio, and since Asuka's out, like, okay, maybe I'm not saying I want this to happen. I'm just throwing out ideas. But what I want, and I got this idea from her. So did you guys watch the Cody Rhodes has like a show? What do you want to talk about? Teamed up with the whiskey company or whatever. That's a sponsor.
I haven't seen it yet.
So he does interviews with other wrestlers on there, and he interviewed Bayley. I think it was like the second one, And they talked, I think, a little bit about the Bloodline storyline, and she was like, I would love to be involved in like a more of a long-term storyline thing, but like I can't remember who she mentioned specifically. It might have been Dom, but she was like, I've never been involved in like a romantic storyline. Like I really want to get involved in that. Like I think that'd be a lot of fun, and that'd be something different and new for my character. And I was just like, I mean, Bayley, you can give me a call. We'll do something, but I actually looked at the roster and I was like, okay, well, I would like her to get involved in a romantic storyline with like an up and coming male wrestler. Not anyone that's already like over and done that, whatever. So I kind of went down to NXT and I looked up and I was like, who would be an interesting little dynamic? Because like the Bayley that I kind of know behind the scenes is she's very nice, she's very sweet, but she's like can be kind of like condescending of herself, like humble, but also kind of awkward. So like mine would be the like veteran awkwardly trying to help the rookie, and then like somehow there's like awkward attraction and confusion. I would love, but I would want, and here's where the play on words. Here's the pun.
Kind of like Katrina and Brian from Suits. Yes.
But that's a sideways thing. We'll talk about that later. But no, what I want is, so you have the awkward, almost familiar, friendly Bayley with Mr. Ego himself and the Ethan Page. So you got the cockiness with the sweetness, bring out the best of each. I think that'd be a good little yin and yang, and then they could somehow turn that into a romantic storyline. Maybe that gets Ethan Page up to Smackdown or whatever. It gets her off the title picture, gives her that romantic long-term story. Maybe she comes out and cheats or whatever to help him get a title. Like, that's what I want to see. That's the storyline I want from Bayley going forward.
I could see that. That would be interesting.
Right.
Because she's been in the title picture for so long. Something fresh, something new.
She needs a fresh coat of paint. She needs something different. I've always said this about Charlotte as well, where it's like she needs a feud that doesn't have anything to do with title or being the best. Like it's gotta be something personal, or gotta be something funny, or something, something different. Bayley's kind of in that spot as well. So
yeah.
All right.
Okay,
so
I like it.
Let's move on. She's really the main one that I had ideas for, but let's move on to Seth Rollins. We'll do Seth Rollins next. So he's out injured right now. When does he return? Who would you like him to go after? Anything. Wide open.
Well, I don't know the extent of his injury, to be honest, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, it would depend on that.
Obviously, it would be nice for him to come back at the Rumble and feud with somebody going into Mania. Probably CM Punk. That's most likely.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
Yeah,
I mean, he definitely deserves the time off to just relax and rest and actually like be able to like rehab his injury, compared to like being back like maybe a month or two later after like getting surgery again, when he really didn't have to for Money in the Bank. Like I've talked with Coach about, like I thought it was incredibly dumb. They should have just done Sheamus if Seth Rollins wasn't gonna have any chance of winning the champions against Priest, but that's a whole different story. I think Tomlin's probably onto something. I wouldn't be surprised if Seth Rollins did come back at the Rumble, and that's when he kind of confronts CM Punk like within the match, and that leads to their eventual match at WrestleMania. I don't think they need the championship for that match, because
agreed.
I think the World Heavyweight Champion going into WrestleMania is probably still going to be Gunther. I think he's still going to have a lengthy reign. So I don't think Seth and Punk needs the World Heavyweight Championship. It would make it 100% interesting, but they don't need it. They don't need the championship. They got so much hate for each other.
Yeah, I don't know what the PLEs are leading up to the Rumble, but that's kind of what I wrote down too. Was that might as well return at the Rumble. Like no matter what time he needs, give him the time that he needs, and then he's gonna have to get time to get back into shape or tune it back up, get some matches under him. I would like to see him return in the Rumble and have like a great, like maybe shows up at like 15 or something, and he knocks out Bronson, so he gets that little bit of payback for taking him out. But then eventually we get that Seth Rollins, CM Punk tease, whatever. I don't think he needs to win it, but like he'll have a great run and we'll pop hardcore because he'll be back. And I feel like he is one of those guys that, whether it's injuries or other situations, like he always gets forgotten about at WrestleMania. Because didn't he miss 2, and then suddenly it was like, oh, we don't got nothing for you. Oh, now Cody's here. Like, okay. Then I think he had Logan Paul. Like, he's always kind of like the guy that gets forgotten about. So I'm like,
yeah, like the random matches up until like this WrestleMania tag match.
Yeah, so I'm like, give him his, CM Punk, or give him something big to kind of be that feather in the cap. Appreciate you for everything you do.
Something that has more meaning. Like the WrestleMania tag match that he had with Cody Rhodes.
Or give him The Rock.
Triple H match that he had.
Yeah. Give him something big. But yeah, I kind of agree with you guys. Like, give him the time that he needs. I don't know how long he's going to be out. But yeah, Rumble would probably be most fitting, I feel like. I'll miss him. I'll miss him, but I get it.
They did not need him at Money in the Bank. I'm gonna keep assuring that. Like, they did not need him at Money in the Bank. They could have done Sheamus.
And the last one that I have is Bronson Reed. I want to know how you guys book him going forward, based on the last 3 weeks of him looking really strong.
I wouldn't.
You're cutting him?
I don't like him at all. I think he's boring.
All right, so Tomlin's writing him off. Nick,
I just don't like him. I'm not saying he doesn't have his place on the roster. I just don't like him personally. That's all.
So would you?
That's fair.
So is he basically?
He's I just keep booking him how you're doing him right now, dude. He's just a monster. He beats people up. But his roles on Bronson's ceiling is putting over a bigger star. He's not gonna be a champion or some shit. I don't see it.
That's kind of like me with Charlotte Flair. Like, I love and respect Charlotte for what she does for the business and stuff. Like, she's an amazing wrestler, but personally, she just does not click for me. I'll give her flowers, but I don't like her.
Oh, I'm not giving Bronson his flowers. I'm not giving him his flowers. He's more like Piper Niven than Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I'm just the way that they booked him lately. It's been so strong, but I
don't really hate him that much.
I feel like they're building him up to put over the next star. So for me, the question is really: are you building him up for Braun Breaker to take him down, or are you building?
I'm probably building him up for Seth Rollins.
But like 6 months? 6 months? I feel like that's a lot of build up to Seth.
Yeah.
And even then, I'm like, I don't feel like you can build him up enough in 6 months and then give Rollins like I feel like that's like a in between feud building up to something else. But I feel like if you're gonna build him up, it either has to be for Braun Breaker or even Gunther to be that like filler title match, and then move on to the next thing. So like I was saying with Nick earlier. Okay, well maybe after he loses the title matches, then he's finally like, what do I do? How come I can't pull the trigger and get the win? And then like boom, he joins Judgment Day or something.
Right.
And becomes the muscle for somebody else. So then it's like he's on TV, he's got a role, but he's not he would be. I mean, if you want to put him with a smaller guy, he could be a fun little tag team thing. Or if you put him with somebody funny, like he's got skills, he could be an Otis in a different coat of paint or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the whole Bronson Reed thing. I mean, I like what he's doing now, but I do agree with Tomlin that he can be boring at times. Except for the past couple of weeks, whenever he's been doing the destruction stuff, I love that, and I think that's probably going to continue for a while. But I just don't know how they build from there.
Yeah, I'm so curious at what they're doing with him, or how they picture him and stuff like that, because like he easily could fall into the same Otis, Ivar, Braun Strowman category where it's kind of like, all right, they're big muscular guys, but they're kind of just there to fill out the card.
Yeah, and that's what Bronson Reed's been doing for a while now. Like, he'll have good matches and win matches and stuff, but like they're random matches that don't really mean anything. Like the matches that he's had with Ivar or like Otis, Shinsuke Nakamura, like just random Raw feuds that we don't really care about. But now we care about him because he's attacking and destroying everybody.
All right, here's the perfect storyline, and Tomlin's gonna hate it. He's gonna beat Braun Breaker for the title. Then he's also gonna join the Judgment Day, and then he's gonna take out Damien Priest and make him look like a bitch, because I know that those are your boys. If that happens, Tomlin's gonna stop watching.
It's not gonna happen.
You'd be so
it's not
pissed
gonna happen
though.
because Roman Reigns exists on SmackDown.
There's nothing that would make me stop watching.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is post-editing coach here. I just want to say thank you for watching the video, listening to the video, and if you do me a huge favor, make sure you punch that like button and feel free to subscribe as well. Myself and Nick, we both stream the PLE event, so if you would like to join in with us, watch the show with us, we will both be live on Twitch. And if you would like to participate, this is usually a live recorded show, so you can hop in one of our streams, ask comments, and if you want to respond to anything that we discussed here today, feel free to drop a comment and I will respond. So appreciate you being here. Have a good one.